Hello, my name is Paul and welcome to my devlog for the Corgi Christmas Game Jam. The date is the 18th of December 2016, and for an overview of the video, I'm going to be talking about my current thoughts and feelings having gone through another day of the process, the changelog, various things that have changed, and finally what I expect to have done by the end of the day. So, second day's been and gone. I've had to change around quite a few things because, admittedly, I think I was overcomplicating certain mechanics. A lot of aspects about the game has changed because, to be honest, originally I was going to make it top-down stealth, but to be honest now it feels more like just a top-down arcade game with just stealth elements in there. I haven't taken out the stealth elements so you can use them, but I don't know if there'll actually be much benefit to it at the moment. Granted, I haven't done like the final map or anything for it, so I don't know whether I will necessarily actually put the stealth mechanics in. I'll probably put them there just in case the player wants to use them, but to be honest, I think because of how the pacing of the game has changed, I think a lot of what you'll be doing is less akin to stealth and more just akin to running around trying to get things done. I have decided on a new title. I admittedly came up with this over the course of yesterday because I realised that the working title I had was a little bit too long and not really catchy, so the new title I've decided to go for is Dr. Corgi Resident Destructophile. Hopefully this sounds a bit more interesting and is actually a bit more fitting towards what you're actually doing in the game. Anyway, changelog. First of all, I've got background music now. Credit to Ian Martin for providing the music for this. Currently I've just got a title song and the main song for it. That's all I really need, to be honest. I don't think I'm going to need any other songs. He did produce 3, but I only used 2 of the 3 that he provided. Whether or not I find a use for that 3rd song later down the line when I come back to this is another question entirely. So I'll quickly demonstrate these for you. So this will be the title theme. Obviously, once these are implemented into the final game, they will be on a loop, so they won't just stop just like that. They are short, and they are intended to loop by themselves and not necessarily have any run-in. I wanted to do it this way because I don't know enough about coding background music into the game just yet. I know how to make them loop, but getting the song to start up and get to the point where it does start looping is out of my knowledge range at the moment. A lot of the inspiration for the music has immediately come from basically a lot of crime stuff that I have watched and enjoyed, and I felt that it was appropriate for this considering the main character is a forensic anthropologist. The relevance of that eventually will come in, but for the purposes of actually playing the game, they're not quite relevant. This will be the main thing that plays throughout when the game is being played. So you can see that the music is starting to reflect more of an arcade feel than a top-down shooter, no, a top-down stealth feel. I'm sorry, because of the general pace of it and I guess the lightheartedness of it. Anyway, changes within the code. There are quite a few changes that I've had to make. First of all, the code for when the enemy sees the player. I've had to change a lot of this around because the original AI I was planning, which would go into a separate state for looking for the player and then following them around and all that, wasn't quite working out. So I've basically changed the code around so that when they're suspicious of you, they'll just gun it for you, and just the investigation point is set to your location then. So a couple of new variables. The inspect worthy is checking a variable within the wreckable objects. This is for this one, the inspect worthy variable is checking whether or not the wreckable object is still suspicious. So when the and the inspect time is the length of time that the object will remain a point of concern. So the way I've gone about it is basically when the object is destroyed, the object becomes freshly suspicious, and once a guard sees that object, then it's basically assumed that they've started to alert the higher ups and start looking around to see who's the cause for concern, or the culprit, I should say, rather. And the concern time is the amount of time that they will do the search until they just call it off and stop being suspicious about it. At the moment, it's set to be about 30 seconds, just so the AI has a chance to have a look at the object, be suspicious about it for a while, and then just go back to roaming around. I may change this once I've gotten testers to properly test the game. But yeah, once the alarm's set, then they will be suspicious. And actually, I just realized actually that the code I've done is not gonna turn off the alarm. So I'll quickly make a change to that now. So if whoops. Yeah, I just realized that this was a potential problem. So to explain why I was just fixing there, basically I just realized that because this happens every time the guard sees the object and it's inspect worthy, it keeps setting the alarm back up to the maximum time, and because of that, because it's on 30 seconds, the alarm won't actually drop. So again, chances are I'll probably change the concern time down, just because I've realized that 30 seconds is probably far too long. I'm thinking 20 seconds might be long enough. Actually, I'll keep it at 30 seconds for now. I'll get people to test it and see what they think. If it's too long, then I'll tone it down. If not, then I'll leave it be. Everything else is pretty much the same. It's just the object observations that have changed for the wreckable objects. Yep. Enemy roam. What's changing here is just I've added the collision work area object to the instances. This is to avoid the player being constantly changed around the place and not being able to escape. So I didn't want the players to be punishable in an area where you can make up for making the enemy suspicious. I don't know whether I'll keep this in. Again, I need to test it to see if to make sure it's not a broken mechanic. But I think because of the amount of time the objects are suspicious for, and the amount of objects you have to break around the area, I think this might be alright. This might be better off, because you have to get a combined score of the objects being destroyed and the amount of work you've actually done to be able to get a higher score out of it. The scripts, other than that, well, I say that, the controls are something else that have changed in here. I've changed around the controls a little bit, so instead of having the speed up and the speed down, I've decided just to straight up scrap those and instead just go for a run and a sneak button. I've done this because the problem with increasing the speed is it's too slow. When the enemies are chasing after you, because they move about 0.5 times faster than, well, you move at 2 and they move at 2.5, so that's because that you will have to run to get away from them, and you have to make a lot of noise to get away from them. So yeah, the run is there to make up for the fact that because you move too slow when you're trying to crank the speed up, and you have to hold E or Q to get your speed up and speed down. I've just decided just straight up go for absolutes. So, and yeah, just here I've got it so that they just do the absolutes for the speed now. These variables are in the player, and they're just the original max speed limit and the max crawl limit, or the minimum crawl limit rather. I'm probably gonna have to add in the code for when you press both buttons at the same time. I don't think people will do that, but you know, you've got to foolproof it, so I'll make sure to have that done as well. Other objects that have changed. The master UI has changed, actually. This is for temporary purposes, because I'm basically using it to hold all the possible scores and rankings and all that for the game. I figured I might as well do that because it is the one thing that's controlling all the UI and all that. So I figured I'd create all the variables in this and then have them be referred back to in this. They are all globals. This is just so I can refer back to them in other objects and all that good stuff. UI initialize is still in there. I still need to add other parts of the UI in more detail, but that to be honest is more just relating to all these new variables I've got, and that'll be with that'll be just sorted on just its own on just the screen itself. I was gonna make a menu that would drop down for that, but I think that's going a bit too far, and I don't have that much time to get all the graphics sorted and all that. So I think I'm just gonna have it just all on screen and not in a drop down menu, and that'll just make things a lot easier for me to complete and get it all sent off. End step stuff. Yeah, total recordables is set to the instance number of recordables. I think I mentioned this before. I don't quite remember, but this down here is all new. So this is just determining the scores that you get. So whenever you have wrecked over a certain amount of the object, then your score increases. So you start at D, and basically you need equal portions of both to kind of get the next score up. So this kind of controls what score you get if you break all the objects and do your work quota, because work quota you have to do to actually complete the game. I'm saying it's just one and not both, because ideally you want to, because of the score variance at the moment, based on the difference in how much you've destroyed and how much work you've done, I want the work quota to be the one that determines whether or not you've won the game, because once you've done that, then you've basically done your job, so you don't have to you don't have to worry about it then. But destroying the wreckable objects is more of a side thing, but it increases your score, so ideally people will want to break a lot of objects. And obviously, win condition when your work quota is 0 and the game condition isn't already lost. I've done it as strings for now. I'm gonna set them to actual numbers, because when I do the actual game state stuff, I'll need to refer to numbers as opposed to strings of text. I've done it as strings for now, just so that on the UI I can represent the game's progress, and it'll make it easier for me to determine when the game is actually won or lost. And yeah, when you collide with the guard and the guard is suspicious, then, and you haven't already won the game, then the game is going to be considered a loss. Draw step. This is just literally drawing all the UI stuff. So this was here before. The wrecking score wasn't quite working because I think it was because of a couple of. I think it's because they weren't referring their wrecked state back to the global variable. So this is all sorted and working. I'll show you that working once I do the demonstration. Ranking is just showing the game ranking. That's based on all the scores that are in the end step. And the game condition. Once I've gotten all the UI layouts and whatnot sorted, then this will actually be turned back into a number, and then I'll have different windows pop up for when you've won or lost the game. So that's all the UI stuff. Wreckable objects. I've added a couple of new variables. Again, this is to avoid. This is to actually, let me just explain what you want. So just wrecked is to avoid constant rack up of score. I would set it to, well, I shouldn't set it to this because they need to know that it's wrecked at all times, but this is just to avoid a constant loop whenever, because the adding to the score is set in the step loop, so it will just add score constantly over and over, and I don't want it to do that. Freshly suspicious. This was mentioned in the See Something script. This is just to keep the enemies aware of whether or not this is worth investigating or not, because once it's not worth investigating, then they can just move on. And concern time, again, it's set to 30 seconds. In case those of you don't know, this number is large because basically it's counting the frames and not the seconds. So I've got it set to 60 frames per second, so I need 1600 because I need to get to count 30 seconds in frames. Alarm 0 hasn't changed, I believe. Yeah, no, it hasn't changed, so nothing worth going over in that. Alarm 1, this just turns Freshly Suspicious off so that the enemies can disregard it. Step event. Yeah, Freshly Suspicious is now set to true here, so This will only happen once, because once it just Rex happens, then it will just completely stop paying attention to this part of the code. Left button hasn't changed. Draw. I've taken out a lot of the variables I was tracking. I can take out. Well, actually, I'll keep that in for now because I need to make sure that that's working, and I can quickly do that whilst I'm demonstrating the game. Health bar is there to obviously represent how much damage it's taking. I've actually moved it for now. Once the art is done, I will take out the health bar because I'll have the objects being represented as destroyed in the graphics and not in the health bar. So that'll give you a better idea of how much longer it's got until it's destroyed. So on that workstation, I think this is a new object. I don't think I mentioned it. I don't think this was in the devlog before, and well, it's definitely a thing that has changed in the game, so it's worth mentioning. Work quote, I've set this to. I was going to have it add up, but I think because it starts. I think because if you start it at 0 and the health bar tries to work out like how much it's got put into it in a percentage kind of way, it won't actually increase the health bar anyway. So I've set it to 100, so it just counts down from 100. It's basically the HP function for the wreckable objects. Working equals false. That's to clear suspicion temporarily. I don't think I actually. This is in the see something script. I honestly completely forgot for a moment that actually that was something that also changed. But yeah, when you're working and they see you and you're working, yeah, it'll clear suspicion temporarily from them. So that's kind of a handy way of avoiding getting constantly chased by the guard enemies. This alarm is to deduct health consistently. It'll start working to false once the alarm's stopped, so you have to actually be working at it at the time to be able to clear that suspicion. Because once the timer runs out, then it'll just go back to being normal. Left button. Again, this is another. It's basically the same as what the. That's something I forgot to mention. The wrecking script for the wreckables I've taken out because I just realized that because it's such a short script, there's no point having it as a separate script, so to speak. So I just moved it all into the wreckable objects, left click, and it's basically the same as this. So if your cursor scan is on top of the object and there isn't a collision line between the player and the object, I did this so that you wouldn't try and like click through walls to do the work or break the object. So this avoids you just randomly in a wall, in another room entirely, and just doing work or breaking an object. And then if the distance from the player to the object is less than the player's reach, and you're not working, it'll set the alarm and working is true. So there's that. And draw stuff, again, drawing a health bar to represent the amount of work quota that's left. A debug thing. Chances are this will turn into a health bar that appears on the UI and not on the object itself. So that'll help to keep a constant track of the amount of work you've got left to do. But other than that, that's all the changes that have been made so far. Before I demonstrate the game, I'll actually go through the future stuff I need to do. Obviously, art assets, not done yet. That's what today's going to be focusing on, getting all the art assets done, getting the UI done, and getting as much testing on it as I can possible, because I do need to test this. I don't know how much testing I'm going to get done on it because obviously your assets has to take priority. I'm going to try and test it as much as possible whilst I have the time. But yeah, main focus is the art assets and getting that all done. I do need to make a room for the title screen, but that shouldn't take too long. There'll just be like a couple of extra buttons. Well, buttons, probably invisible ones. The other bit of coding that I'll need to do is a drop-down menu and the win or lose menu that pops up. So those will have to happen, but those shouldn't take too long, I imagine. Because the main focus is going to be on the art assets, I'm not going to panic too much about it just yet. So yeah, other than that, that's, I think, most of the changes I've mentioned, I think. So let's get to demonstrating the game. I'm probably going to turn the audio down for this just because it is a bit loud, the game. So I don't want it to go completely over my own audio, as much as I love the music at the moment for it, because it is quite a jolly tune. As usual, gotta wait for the usual compiling. Right, so actually I'm just going to turn game audio straight off because I realised actually it's louder than me whilst it's still playing. So yeah, as you can see, enemies are just roaming around at the moment, not up to much. I've got the freshly suspicious variable as visible for now. The enemy, that's the other thing that I need to change is the what was it? Randomize, yes. That's the other thing that I need to do is randomize. So yeah, as you saw, once I wrecked an object, it adds to the score here, and this guy's probably going to come along, he's probably going to see that, so he's going to be suspicious. Are you suspicious? No, I think you missed that. I think he probably missed it because it might have been out of his cone of sight. So I'll just start. Actually, I probably shouldn't do that while he's there. Not really. Well, you're not suspicious yet. Yet. You probably will be soon. So yeah, whenever I wreck an object, it adds to the score there. The ranking hasn't gone up because obviously I haven't done any work. I'm waiting to see when one of the enemies will actually start chasing me. I'm hoping I don't wreck all the objects in one, I'm hoping not. Are you suspicious? That is a bit unusual. They're not being suspicious at the moment. I don't quite know why yet. I'll break a couple more objects in their line of sight. See what happens. If one of them, I'm hoping they are suspicious. Oh, yep, there we go. Yep. Hi. Oh, that's one problem. You don't know when they're suspicious. Oh, yeah, he's suspicious right now. So if yeah, there we go. So if I start doing work, then he stops being suspicious of me. I intentionally did not attach anything to. I'm not going to attach anything that shows that they are suspicious of you, because that's not the part of the fun of the game, is it? You don't know whether they're suspicious of you. Oh God! Wait, is he actually? Oh, okay. The colliding code for actually losing the game is not quite showing up. That's not a problem. I can fix that later, but yeah. Whew. I forgot how actually tense that is. Yeah, I'm working. Yeah. Oh God! Okay, yeah, right. I have to get, yeah. See, look, I'm doing work. Oh, okay, they're still suspicious of me. I don't quite know why. Yeah, they're still suspicious of me. I don't quite know why that is yet. I can have a look at that later. Obviously, I'll still get them to test it. I'll still get some testers to have a look at it, see what they think, see what else needs to be changed. But other than that, yeah, I guess a lot of fixing needs to happen because apparently they're all still very suspicious of me, and I don't quite know why that is. I would have thought that this would clear it, but apparently they are still suspicious. So chances are it's probably something that's in, it's probably something that's in their seeing code that's doing it, because these aren't freshly suspicious. And yeah, they're still going for me. I don't quite know why that is, but you know, no problem. I can have a look at it and I can fix it. But yeah, you can see the sorry, I'm not bringing much of the score at the moment because it is kind of in a corner, and I'm more just explaining everything that's going on and trying to get everything in a clear understanding. But yeah, the ranking is C because I've destroyed. I've destroyed under half technically, because half would technically be 4.5. It'll technically be 4.5. Yeah. Yeah, they're gonna still chase me, but at this point, I'm just gonna demonstrate that the score is shifting up. Yeah, there we go. So 4.5 was half, so that's why they that's why the score. Oh right, yeah, I won the game because I just realized I actually did all the work for her. Okay, yeah, I can. Okay, yeah, I haven't assigned anything to the reset key yet. There's a reset key, but I haven't assigned anything to it, and I completely forgot to assign something to it. But yeah, that's something I need to add to my tweaks, is get these guys to stop being suspicious once I've actually done the work, and get the loss condition working, because I don't quite know why that's not happening. I thought the place meeting would happen. I thought the place meeting would work, but I guess that because it's I guess it's just because I need to feed it into their code possibly, and I don't know. I can have a look at it, but yeah. Other than that, that is pretty much it for this log. I'd like to thank you all for watching, and I'm hoping that I actually managed to get this done and completed for the game jam. So here's hoping it all goes well again.